So yes, we are now live. So the question I had asked the other day is that what is the difference between belief and faith, right? So now, considering the MN 129, that is the Bālapaṇḍitasutta, if we look into it, it is talking about hell realm and heaven realm of existence. Now, if I say I believe, that means I don't have the faith because I just believe it to be true because Buddha has said. What if it is not by the Buddha? What if it is by some Thero or Sariputta, or it is Moggallana or someone whom we don't know? I mean, let's say some other Thero and some other Arhat. Okay, and like many people believe that the Attakatha and the there is this Pali, that is Patisambhidha Magga and all that. They don't. Many people don't believe that that is ever done by Buddha. So they just remove it. And some people who believe that Abhidhamma is not at all part of it. So it's only sutta. So like that. So that means we have a belief system. We don't have a faith. And what Buddha talks is faith. He doesn't talk anything about belief at all. Right? So now the problem here is, if I take the Samannaphala Sutta, DN2, and if I take this sutta, MN 129, the problem in both the suttas is that it explains all the things till you reach an arhat, and that sutta explains. But how do I get into it is also explained there. But then I have not got it. So what I believe now is that since it is coming from the Buddha, I accept it, but that doesn't help. Because I'm not experiencing anything. I'm just believing it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because Buddha has said it should be true. Maybe it's my mistake, and that's the reason I'm not getting it. So there's no faith. So I just wanted to cover up. Preeti, by any chance, have you worked on the difference and like what we ended last, or you have not, or you couldn't get it? Okay, no worries. I will give the answer. There are 5 steps to do that. Okay. So first, let's understand what is belief and what is faith. The definition. Okay. Belief means accepting something that it exists and is true, and there is no need for giving any proof. Okay. Faith means having complete trust or confidence in something or someone because he or she knows it and could be demonstrated. So belief, when I say I believe in Buddha, it means it cannot be demonstrated. It cannot be proven. Whereas if I have faith in Buddha, it can be demonstrated, it can be proven. If I say I believe in Dhamma, it cannot be demonstrated. There's no proof. There's nothing to prove. I just believe. But if I say I have faith in Dhamma, it should be demonstrable. This is the difference between belief and faith. In belief, I accept because somebody has said it, or the scripture says it, or the book says it, or something says it, and then I'm convinced and I accept it. And I say, yes, I believe what you say is true. But there is no demonstrative evidence to it. I just accept it at face value. The problem with belief is it can be changed. It leads to doubt. Whereas faith doesn't lead to doubt because you already experienced it. Even if Buddha comes and says, I did a mistake of saying anicca, dukkha, and anatta means this. And then you'll say, look, I have experienced it myself. I understand it. I have comprehended it. I have gone deeper into it. And I know what you're saying. So I am having faith in you, not belief in you. In fact, in the Pali language and Sanskrit, these two languages which were used earlier, there is no term called belief at all. In all the Indian languages, there is belief. The meaning is there for belief, as in English. But as far as Pali and Sanskrit goes, there is nothing called as belief. And another thing you need to note, if I were to digress slightly and then take the yoga path, in that the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he talks about a thing called as pramana, which is nothing but demonstration and it to testify, to demonstrate and testify. So the three ways of doing it. One, pratyaksha. Aksha means eyes. Pratyaksha means seen by oneself through one's own eyes. It's called pratyaksha. Then the second one is anumana, which is inference. I infer from the evidence provided, I infer that it is true. And the third one is agama, testimony. In three ways, I can get into faith, not belief. Belief doesn't require eyes, self-experiencing. Belief doesn't require investigation, which creates inference. Belief doesn't require testimony. You just accept. So my problem or our problem now is that most of the Buddha teachings where he talks about supernormal abilities, iddhi, which is the supernormal powers, is a belief. It's not based on faith. Another problem with belief is it might happen, might not happen. And most of it will never happen because I don't know what to do to make it happen. So I keep on circling with many teachers, trying to find out whether he will give me that or she will give me that, that person gives me that, and like that. So I create doubts over doubts and doubts, like I create a net of doubts because I just believe. I don't have faith at all. So it doesn't work. Okay, so this is what we need to know. So when we look deeper, we can see that belief has an acceptance because someone has said it or knows that it exists and it exists to be true, and that the theory or that concept works, and that person only knows how it works. And I sincerely don't know how it works at all. Okay. And yet I believe it is true. Because it's been said. Okay. And this is how the religious systems comes into existence, which creates rituals. And in the Buddha Dhamma, there's no rituals at all. There's absolutely no rituals. There's no ritual. Including the Gatha, what we sing in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever we sing, it's got nothing to do with what Buddha has said. It's for our own comfort. It's for our own way of dealing with things that we do it. It doesn't necessarily in any way vouched by the Buddha that you need to do the Gatha, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's not there. We do it at a separate reason, but then that's not part of it. So we believe, right? There is belief. So when I recite Jina Panjara or when I recite Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, I have no idea of what it is and how it works. There's another funny thing which I used to do when I came down from Sri Lanka, is that there is one thing what I need to say before doing a sermon or a desana, that I need to recite this like this: Samanta Chakkavalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Saddhamma Munirajasa Sunanto Saggamoggadam Dhamma Savanakalo Ayam Bhadanta Dhamma Savanakalo Ayam Bhadanta Dhamma Savanakalo Ayam Bhadanta. This is what I need to do before starting the desana. Right? Now, what's the meaning of it? You are on mute. Yeah, go ahead.
To invite all the devas and the beings to listen
Right.
to the Dhamma.
Right. But do I know how many beings are sitting here?
Yes, they do.
So I believe, right? Is there a faith? No. So will it work? No. I'm just reciting just for recitation, right? And let's look at the word samanta. Samanta means one who has progressed. Sama means equal. Samanta means one who sees every being equally. Chakkavalesu, in all the planetary cycles. Chakkavala is the solar systems. So, numerous solar systems. Atra gacchantu devata. There goes the devas who are going by, passing by. Saddhamma Munirajasa, one who had stood for, steadfast for Nibbana. That Muni, the king, Raja is the king. Sunantu Soggamoggadam. Sunantu is to listen. So come and listen to his sayings. Dhamma Savanakalo Ayam Bhadanta. Dhamma is the teaching. Savana is to hear. Kala is the time. Ayam Bhadanta. I am his, what I can say, follower. So this is what it is all about. So now what two things have to happen? I need to see with my eyes how many beings are sitting here. And then I'm going to call them. Please come. Please sit here. I have a place for you. Make yourself comfortable. I am doing the desana of the Buddha. That's faith. And I'm able to talk to each one of them. And do you have any questions? Can I answer to your question? Is there anything mistake I'm doing? And that's how I should be doing it. That experience is totally different. I can imagine that there are gods, they are listening and they are doing it and they are sitting next to me. All that is my imagination because I believe it. So when I come to the Buddha Dhamma, following questions we need to go through. Should one have faith or belief or both? This is the first question. Okay. Second question. If that is how it is, are they both the same? A third question. The belief leads to faith eventually. Does it really lead me to faith? I believe now. But is there a possibility of converting that into a faith? A fourth one. Does faith lead to belief? I have faith, but can it lead to belief? 4 questions. So, first question, should one have faith or belief or both? Second question, are they both the same? Third question, does belief lead to faith eventually? Fourth question, does faith lead to belief? So these are the 4 questions. Okay, now we'll answer one by one using the Buddha Dhamma. Now we need to understand why these questions have come. They have come because of the sutta, Bālapaṇḍitasutta. Okay, and considering this, let's start applying. So if we take the above definitions, if we were to take anything by belief, then we have not experienced and we only feel that it should be true. It is true because Buddha has said so, and not because of anything else. So, what we need to cultivate is faith, not belief. So, we need to cut the belief and only look at faith in anything we do. Okay, since they both are not same, and belief can change dependent on situation, whereas faith can stand firm on its own footing. Okay, as it is seen the way of things they are and not as what is presented. In belief, you can present it in whatever way you want. But in faith, you start to see things as they are. That's called in Pali called as Yatha Bhuta Jnana Darshana or Dasana. Yatha Bhuta is as it is, as black and white, if we were to put that. Demonstrable evidence, not by any logic, reasoning, simplification, multiplication, division, or assumptions, or theories, or create a theory, or create a story, anything like that. It shouldn't be anything of that sort. It should be straight. It should be not twisting, curling, or minced with words, minced with sentences, complicated, and then in a phrase which is secretive and all of that. It's Yatha Bhuta Jnana. So Buddha Dhamma is Yatha Bhuta Jnana Dasana. That is, things as they are, not as presented. So belief system is as they are presented, whereas faith is as they are. This is a major difference when we come to Buddha Dhamma. Any other Dhamma, there are explanations, there are write-ups, there are commentaries, there are structures, there are a lot of things, but doesn't come to the point of what you're trying to say. In Buddha Dhamma, it's straightforward. There's nothing like I add something and make two things meet and then complicate things. No. So there are two other things we need to see. One is patigha, striking, and then adivachana, it's describing. Vachana is to say, adhivachana is to describe that. So when we come to nama and rupa, it is patigha on one side and adivachana on the other side. What Buddha says is that yehi akarehi, yehi akara, then you have nimitta, then linga, then uddesha. These are the four things. Akara is the shape of whatever we are talking about. Uddesha is the purpose. Linga is the gender. Akara, linga, uddesha. I forgot that fourth one. The four things. I just now said and I totally forgot. Okay, I'll try to remember back. So, in both, that is the patigha and adivachana, these four should be there. We need to have the shape, we need to have the linga, which is the gender, then the purpose, which is uddesha, and the fourth one I'm forgetting anyway. So, and on the patigha, which strikes. strikes on the rupa. So you describe this with that. That's all. And that is how it is demonstratable. Okay. If we have different phrases, different explanation, different kind of dealing with it, then it is belief, not faith. And hence, the two questions what we have asked, should one have faith or belief or both? One should have only faith. Are they both the same? The answer is no. And the third question is, does belief lead to faith eventually? No, because in faith you don't have to do anything except for, in belief you don't have to do anything except for accepting to whatever it is and start doing some rituals, feeling that that ritual is going to do something for you. So what I do is I have a Buddha statue and I light a candle or light a lamp and then put some incense and then I prostrate and say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, and that's all what it is. It's not going to do anything other than that. I might read some gatha, some sutta, something, but I'm not practicing anything as such. So in the belief, I don't have to do anything. I need to do only this much. Whereas in the saddha, faith, you don't have to do this, but you have to work out all the time till you get the result. And that's a huge difference between belief and faith. So the belief doesn't automatically or by force or by effort change itself to saddha. It's not possible. It's impossible. And the other way around, saddha becoming faith is also as impossible as belief becoming faith. We need to work out. And when we work out, we get the desired result. And when we get the desired result, we know it is working. And when we know it is working, it is saddha, faith. So there is virya, energy, out of 5 indriyas that has to be used now. Saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya. These are the 5 indriyas we need to use. And 5 bala. The first is sati. So I need to remember. Then I need to put saddha, which will give me panya. Saddha gives panya, wisdom, and virya and samadhi. Okay, so I need to balance. The couplets here is saddha with panya, virya with samadhi. If I put too much of virya, samadhi is not possible. It becomes restless. If I have too much of saddha, no panya will come. If I have too much of panya, no saddha will come. So I need to balance saddha and panya, and then the samadhi and virya. This 4 middle is sati, and hence satipatthana. And that's the reason satipatthana is there. So I need to practice satipatthana to balance saddha with panya, samadhi with virya. So saddha is faith, samadhi is equanimous, being able to maintain a particular state. Then panya is wisdom, and then sati is remembrance. So I remember to watch the faith with wisdom, samadhi with effort. Too much of effort, samadhi is gone. No effort, samadhi is again gone because I get into sleep. Thinamida. Otherwise, I get into udacha kukucha, which is a hindrance. Belief creates visikicha, the major obstacle or hindrance. So, out of the 5 hindrances, 4 are created here and 1 is created due to belief. So, 5. Now we come to the next. Having understood this, we are now in the next step. In that, the first step, what should I do to get faith? Out of the 3 lakhana, tilakhana, 3 characteristics, one of the characteristics I need to master. One can be anatta, can be dukkha, or can be anicca. Using this 5, sati, saddha, panya, samadhi, virya, taking this 5, I need to implement that on either anicca, dukkha, anatta, asubha. These are the lakhana. I need to see either one of them completely penetrating. Now, what is anicca? Anicca means deterioration, diminishing, reducing moment to moment. We can see it's everything deteriorates steadily. It doesn't deteriorate in a shot. It keeps on disintegrating all the time. So basically, what we are trying to achieve here is that we are able to penetratively see this happening, that it is deteriorating. When we say anicca, we can see the deterioration. Okay, now let's see where I can apply. I'm feeling hungry. I need to replenish. So as far as I'm replenishing, it seems to be stabilizing. But the elements have gone. Now I am refueling it. I have to keep on refueling it and keep on refueling it from morning, afternoon, evening. And that I need to do. Otherwise, hunger and thirst, 2 diseases, have no answer. There's no solution to it. You need to be doing it. So we can see anicca there. And the pain we are going to take to do this is dukkha. As long as we are alive, and as long we go through the jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, vyadhi pi dukkha, all that indicators, we can penetratingly see it that we need to keep on doing this activity all the time, which is painful. It's painful. To maintain a state is painful all the time. Relationship maintenance, job maintenance, all kind of maintenance is same. There is no difference. Or anatta. Now anatta, when I want to contemplate, it's only a process. So there is a digestion process, excretion process, breathing process, circulation process. And the person, what I think, is no person. It's just a process. There's never been a person. There's no personality. And hence it's anatta. And this process is run by 6 missionaries. One is the eye, the ear, the nose, tongue, the body, and the mind. With the 6 objects it can sense. It can sense sight, it can sense sound, it can sense taste, touch, smell, and thoughts. It's a process. As soon as us eye gets into contact with the sight, comes the consciousness which connects both, and that's it. It's a process. So there's a person. So if I penetrate completely on the anicca, dukkha, anatta, then the third step starts. Before I go to the third step, is that when I see this happening, there is a release in the heart. In the center of your heart, you can experience that. You find a relief, you find a peace, you find something expanding, and you find you don't really exist. You don't feel your hands, you don't feel your face, you don't feel anything at all for some time. And that's how you come out of the Sakkaya Ditti, because now you can penetrate into Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, the 5 aggregates using this. So we have to play around with Sati being the center, Saddha, and then the Panya, Samadhi, and the Virya. This 5 Indriyas, this 5 what I can say, senses or faculties, with 5 Bala, which is the strength. So taking this, I can now start penetrating onto Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, or 5 aggregates, or take whatever I want to take. It's okay, doesn't matter. But this is what I need to do as a second step. That is, I've seen what is faith, what is belief. I'm very clear that what is going to be faith and what is going to be belief. Knowing very well there is nothing called as belief system in Buddha teachings. Nobody asks us to believe anything in this. Absolutely nothing to be believed. It has to be experienced, and experience turns itself into faith. You don't have to do anything. Right? So once I penetrate like this, I need to penetrate also on the conditionality, the law of conditionality. This is the major thing. That is, I need to understand the theorem which drives everything. Iti imasmim sati idam hoti imassa uppada idam upajjati. That is, if this were to happen, if this were to be true, that will happen. If this were not to be true, that will never happen. So as long as avidya is there, the jati, jara, marana, soka, parideva is going to be there. As soon as the avidya is removed, that is also removed. This is the starting point of the Paticca Samutpada. So if we refer to Arya Savaka Sutta, you will find a complete explanation of that I've already mentioned in that note what I had sent. It's there. So I don't want to again tell what is it. It's Anguttara Nikaya or Majjhima Nikaya and all that. That's already there. So once I do it, I need to understand that everything which is sensual, everything which is 5 senses or 6 senses plus 5 aggregates, go through 3 things. One is that it goes through anicca cycle. 2, it goes through dukkha. 3, it goes through viparinama. So in the dukkha, there are 3 kinds of dukkha. One is the dukkha, and next one is sankhara dukkha. Third one is viparinama dukkha. So let me say what it really means to understand. Dukkha means I take myself to be vilas. Simple, period. Very simple way of looking at it. I have so much understood that I am vilas that I cannot stand anything against it. As far as people talk for, I feel very happy, and as far as people abuse me or they criticize me or they give feedback to me, then I feel disturbed. Okay? This is called as dukkha, because now I need to take pain over pain. The pain here is this body and the mind. On top of that, the identification itself is a pain. So now I need to have this pain all the time. Then I need to do sankharas. I need to do actions to protect this identity. So that is sankhara dukkha. But it has unexpected results, which is viparinama dukkha. So parinama means expected. Viparinama means unexpected. So whenever we use this word viparinama dhamma, it means unexpected dhamma. You expected something, but it turned out to be something else. So when I see a rupa, a form, it comes, it's not as per what I expected it to be. It is something else. So now I don't want it. But I don't have an option. So it becomes anyatha bhavi. That's another one you're going to learn, is that it becomes otherwise. So now what I expected is not there. And what is expected, which I receive it, I feel very happy, but I cannot be sustained. It keeps on going away. So when every time it comes, I feel connected. Every time it goes away, I feel disconnected. So I have that pain. So eventually I will go through the pain cycle. So this I will understand. And also we'll get deep into insight into what is the asada and what is adinava, what is nissarana. That also I've covered it in that. You have to refer to asada sutta, and that will tell you what is the pleasure we get through senses, what is the displeasure, the danger, what is associated with it. There again, Buddha uses these three. He says that it is dukkha, number one. It's anicca, dukkha, viparinama dhamma. Okay. Now once we are understood with that, now we are on to the next step. So we need to start cleansing the mind. Mind is an object. Consciousness is the one which requires cleansing. The 9 stages of Vijnana, if you remember. From Vijnana Khanda is the 9th one. Vijnana is the 8th one. From the 8th one, it has to go back to the Chitta level, which is pure and bright. So the objective is to go back rather than going in the Vijnana. That is without knowledge. The consciousness, which is pure and bright, has got contaminated in 9 stages. So we are trying to bring it back to this original state, which is pure and bright. So that's what we are trying to do. So to do that, there are many suttas. So we need to understand what the cleansing is all about. The cleansing is all about removing the sensual expectation, which is having gunas. Guna means characteristics. And there are 5 senses with its kama guna. That is, it has its own characteristics. So when I say I love something, it is on these factors. Ittha means liking. Second one is kanta, loving or charming or pleasing. Manapa is a third one, which means I am looking at mentally agreeable piyarupa, which means form which is enticing or loving or wanting. I am so much in love with it. I just cannot stand being away from that. Kamupa samhita, joined to have the sensual pleasure. And rajaniya is that what rouses enjoyment, rouses sensual pleasures. These are the 6 characteristics on 5 different indriyas. That is on eye, ears, nose, like that. In each one of them, if it meets, the sight meets the 6, there is pleasure, the seeking of pleasure. That seeking becomes enjoyable object in the end. The sound, the taste and touch and smell and thoughts. So Now we can see why we do certain things in a certain way is because of this. It's not about believing it, it's about knowing it for true, that this is how my mind is working. The consciousness is trying to enjoy the object without knowing it. So when I, in the sense, consciousness starts to cleanse itself, then what happens? It drops the conditions, it drops expectation, and hence starts to become pure and bright from being clouded. The clouded creates, as in the case of darkness. So let me give you an example here. Normally, the movies, when we go and watch, they are in darkness. We require to have a dark room and that light, that movie clip which is played on that projector and then comes on the screen, and everyone is looking at that light and everything else is dark. After a few minutes, nobody recognizes anybody and they are glued onto that screen. And after a few minutes, 10-15 minutes, the emotions, the action, the sound, and everything takes over, possessing. The person starts to feel that he or she is that person which is being played on the screen. And this is what is called as Avidja Ignorance. And due to that, the Sankhara and all that is happening. What if, by chance, lights are there everywhere? In between the movie, there is a scene where the hero is beaten badly by the villain, and then his lady is trying to make him wake up, and everybody is in tension, and I am also in tension of looking at what's happening, and suddenly the lights are on everywhere and including the screen, making that scene not at all being there. It is such a relief. Why? Because now there's no longer any emotions. So Buddha Dhamma is something like that. It removes the delusion. So when we have belief, we are in delusion. When we are in faith, there's no delusion. It can be experimented. It can be seen properly to what it is. Right? So we need to remove the 10 immoral deeds, and we have already looked into the Kunda Sutta. Along with that, we have to reduce the hindrances using the Rukka Sutta, and that's a link also I had shared a long time ago. And the third step is to understand the Viparinama Dhamma, which I just now spoken about, but into deeper details, and understand all the dhatus, which is the quality of the elements, and with the understanding of the quality of element, the asmimana relating to this body is gone completely. So I don't exist as a body, I don't exist as a mind, and what I can see now is only the phenomena arising and passing away. And with that seeing, I'm able to get into the jhanas. This is the fourth step. I'm now able to establish samadhi. So what I did all of this now is sila. Now I am getting into the samadhi. So with samadhi, I can get into the first jhana and second and third and fourth. By the time I reach the fourth jhana, I'm able to experience the different realms of existence. That also shows to me that what leads where. Demonstratively, right now also we can see. So when I'm in anger, the state of anger, we can see the person burning. Let's say I'm burning internally. The effort I'm putting. When I'm in peaceful, there is no effort. There's absolutely no effort. It's just like feather light. Whereas if I'm in anger, I feel heavy, burdened. So that clearly shows that if I'm developing that attitude, it's going to create misery. So my mind is now in an animal state of existence. That can be seen. There's fear, there is anxiety, there is worry. And due to that, I don't mind doing immoral activities and spoil. Whereas if I'm peaceful, there's no need for that. So I wouldn't be doing any immoral activities at all. And that provides lasting peace. So I can see whether my mind is going towards lighter or towards heavier. The more the heavier, the lower it gets. The more the lighter, we go from the rupa to arupa, where you don't have any attachment towards the rupa at all. There's no heaviness. So we can see the relevance. In that way, any person doing this will be able to achieve it. And that's how faith works. A step-by-step approach. It's not skipping this or skipping that. It's just about putting the steps properly and it should be able to reach. So sila gives rise to samadhi and that gives rise to panya, which is wisdom. So now since I've balanced the sati with the saddha, then we had the second, which is the panya, a third one is samadhi, fourth one is virya. So now since they are balanced, I'm able to experience all that is there in the sutta. If I'm able to experience all that there in sutta, then there's no need for me to go blindly and accept to it. I can really see that it is possible. So in that way, I can resolve on the Samannapala Sutta, where Buddha explains after the samadhi, what all would be seen. He talks about 8 things there. All the 8 can be experienced, should be experienced, it's possible to be experienced. So then I can find out the hindrance which is hindering that experience and solve that. So it can be kamachanda, it can be vyapada, it can be thinamida, it can be udacha kukucha, it can be visikicha. Any one of those or a combination of those is hindering. Otherwise, it's possible to attain whatever is there in the sutta. So this is how I can solve the Bālapaṇḍitasutta. That Bala means childlike or childish attitude or a foolish attitude, versus Pandita, which is astute or a learned. So if I call myself learned, it means I have faith. If I call myself as a Bala, I have only belief that it works, but I have no idea how it works. And this is a very important sutta to see whether we clearly understand the belief versus faith. If I only believe it, I'm childish. It cannot be demonstrated. It just I accept. I think, it should be possible. But I don't have to do anything about it because I don't know how to do it. So all the suttas are demonstratable. Whether it is said by Buddha or said by Moggallana or said by Sariputta or by any other arhat at that time, it's demonstratable. So if I have only belief, and then the problem is that I will only believe those suttas which I feel is by Buddha, and I will not rely on those suttas which are given by somebody else, as in the case of Sariputta. In fact, the difference between Buddha and Sariputta is Buddha gives it in a very summarized fashion, Sariputta gives in a very detailed way. So if I want to do something which is demonstrable completely, I need to follow Sariputta, because that is very demonstrable, because he gives the step by step minutest detail is covered by Sariputta. But if I'm able to understand the essence and I'm able to follow it, then Buddha teachings is fair enough. And in many suttas, Buddha says that I have not found a teacher like Sariputta who can put all the students to understand at their level, and he comes down to their level and explain. So Sariputta is the best teacher even as per Buddha. But if I believe it, then I don't have faith in that. Absolutely no. Because it is not demonstrable. But if I have faith, it is unshakable. So we need to really see. So when we see a commentary, that is by Buddha Ghosha, which is what being used by Pa-Ok tradition and so many other tradition, including Vipassana Research Institute and so many, that is a Burmese tradition. They follow the Buddha Ghosha. And also in Sri Lankan traditions, they again go by Buddha Ghosha. There's nothing wrong in the Visuddhi Magga, except that he has brought in his own way of doing things, which is good. But if I have belief that it works, it's not going to work. For faith, I need to come back to Buddha teaching, and then only it will work, because the commentary by itself doesn't work. So when we see the commentary is not okay, we generalize that all commentaries are not good. No, that's not like that. Even in Visuddhi Magga, there are a lot of sections which are perfect. Some sections are not that perfect. That's the fact of it. But to understand the basic teachings of the Buddha, Visuddhi Magga also helps. But if I want to go to specific content, then I need to go towards Sariputta, because then that helps me to get the key to most of the sayings of the Buddha, and then that helps. Like in the case of Mahaparinibbana Sutta, there is one saying by the Sakka. He says, Anichavata Sankhara Upadavaya Dhammino Upajjitva Nirujjanti Tesan Upasamosukho. This is recited by Vipassana Research Institute. And either you follow the Sayadaw tradition or a Goenka tradition or a Ubakin tradition, this is being used. So at end of every 1 hour of sitting and watching the breath, this is played, and everybody opens up their eyes, and then they don't know what it really means about Anichavata Sankhara and all that. But they feel relieved that, oh, 1 hour is gone. That's good thing for person who starts. So in 10 days, they get a very nice Dhamma to understand, and then they have to work it out. But if they have only belief, it's not going to turn itself into faith. Not possible. So I don't have to start with belief and convert itself into faith. I need to have faith in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. That's all I need to have. So how do I do it? 5-step process, which I just now enumerated. So if we go one by one, the first step is to develop the Anicca Dukkha Anatta, then deeply work out on the Viparinama Dukkha, then come to the second step of understanding what should be cleansed, and third step is to go deeper into the Anyata Bhava and Viparinama Dhamma by itself, and the fourth step is to look at good actions give good results, bad actions give bad results. And the fifth step is that with 5 hindrances getting reduced, we are able to establish a samadhi. And once we are able to establish the samadhi, we have done the sila, then we got into samadhi. So panya, the wisdom of everything, 8 wisdoms what Buddha talks about, is certainly going to be possible. So then we have the Bala, the childish behavior, and the Pandita, the astute or the learned behavior. The Bala goes on the belief, the astute goes on faith. And Buddha Dhamma is a faith based, experimental, experiential knowledge. It's not based upon belief. So that's all I wanted to cover for today. Any questions? Anyone? So these are the 5 steps. I am also making a write-up of it. I'll send it. I have included all the sutta references over there in detail. So you can go through it. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. But that should give, including myself, the step-by-step instructions on how do we get to experience what Buddha is talking about in that sutta, especially MN 129 and also DN 2, which is Samannapala Sutta. If no questions, then we can end at 9. So it's almost 1 minute left. All good?
Thank you.
No worries. Have a good day and a very good afternoon, Richard, and good night to Preeti and Kalpana. Namo Buddhaya. Thank
Namo
you.
Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, sure. Always welcome.